In regards to the Hamakua lands, the mayor is prepared to sell 737 acres. And the way we deal with that issue, which is a very sensitive and important issue to deal with, is an environmental assessment is done. And although we have 3,400 acres of land in Hamakua that's under the public's ownership, EA was done on 737 acres. So on that acreage, according to the EA, it says that there's no archaeological site that of significance that would affect it. However, on the rest of the properties, we don't know because an EA hasn't been completed. In fact, it's my understanding that the mayor has actually commissioned a consulting company, PBR Hawaii, I believe, to actually do the environmental assessment on the rest of the lands and for the purpose of selling off the property. But that's one way that we do it. But obviously, and if an archaeological site is found, if a burial site is found, of course, we have the Burial Council who then also investigate and make their findings known.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to, in a general way, dealing with problems like this that come up, like Waipio Valley and there being issues of sacred areas, how do you folks handle that? I mean, I know you have to be sensitive to that issue, but you still you're trying to balance with other forces. How do you work to balance?
I think for me personally, one of the big things, especially, in my district, certainly you mentioned Waipio Valley, one of the first things you need to do is you need to talk to the kapunas. You need to be able to talk to people that live in the area, that born and raised in the area, and they're your best encyclopedia. They're your best people for reference. And it's important to at the very beginning or onset to talk to folks of that stature, because it really can help you deal with the issue early on. The real difficult thing is when you do a project or a development or what have you, and when you go through 90% of the process, and then all of a sudden now you want to deal with an archaeological site that should have been dealt with at the very beginning, should have been avoided, should have been preserved, and when you start to disturb those type of things, that's when you have all kinds of problems. That's when the people, the Hawaiian community especially, feel slighted. And that's why it's important, I think, when you deal with these things, understand that it is sensitive. We have a host culture, and we need to be akamai and smart about that, and make sure that we work with them.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Have you had good cooperation from them in terms of various developments? I mean, you've approached them on the valley and other issues. Has there been kind of a good communication?
Well, I think for myself, I think where I've been fortunate is I represent a district that is extremely vocal, that you don't have to go and find them, I'll tell you. And of course, we're very visible as well in the community, and we try to be available to people, and we are very approachable. So, I think we have a pretty good working relationship with that. So, I have no problem being able to contact or have them contact me, because I think that's a working relationship we all strive for. And for myself, I've been in as councilperson or councilman for 10 years now. So, over that time, you're able to develop trust and a working relationship that I think has been positive for me and for the community.
Okay. So, is this worked out where you outreach to the community, like you appear at events, and you're open to the community out there in terms of input from Native Hawaiians and from the farmers and everybody? Is this how the grassroots thing? Or?
Well, one thing that we do, and I think it's very powerful, and that is that we take the time to do what we call talk story sessions out there. And we basically go to all the different townships throughout the Hamakua, North Hilo, and rural South Hilo, and really come out, and not so much with a subject, but come out and say, hey, listen, we are going to be at Papaiko Gymnasium, or at Pipekea Kulaimanu Center, or at Lapoehoi Cafeteria. And what we say is we are available to talk story if there's anything of interest or anything of concern within the community. We're fortunate because our talk story sessions are well attended. People do come out, and I think they come out because there's a couple of things that they know will be accomplished. Number one, they will be heard, and number two, it's in a very respectful environment. So people feel comfortable, even if we have differing ideas or thoughts on issues, people feel comfortable that they can come out and say their piece without worrying about getting into a fist fight or an argument and so forth. So I think we've really worked to develop that over the years, and I think that has been a very big plus. So people do come to our meeting and share their mana'o.
Okay, very good.